Alright, welcome back everyone to another episode. Look, a little bit of fun this one. I brought Donny along and his chopped 200 series Land Cruiser. So you can probably guess what we're doing here.
It's back up and running.
Yeah, it's back. We broke it on the last trip, but we fixed it. So a question that we get asked constantly is, why did you go a dual cab 79 and not a chopped 200 series? So we thought we'd get both trucks down here side by side. Now obviously there's a few differences, but we're just going to sort of run through a couple of reasons of probably why you went the 200, why I went the 79, and then we're going to show you some of the differences. And we've got a heap of questions on the social media that we're going to answer as well. We asked you guys what you wanted to know. So price is the big one. Everyone wants to know the price difference. So
I think that'll be the surprising factor to a lot of people.
Yeah, that is pretty interesting. We were just working some rough figures out there. So obviously Donny's got a sort of chop and extension by one company, mine's by another company. So we're probably just going to give you a rough figure of, I'd say the top of the top, which is probably like the J-Max. It's the biggest GVM upgrade. It's the biggest towing capacity upgrade.
Absolutely.
So we're going to sort of give you the high prices, and then we'll run through how many other different ways there are to do it, because there's bloody hundreds.
There is.
So if you guys have been enjoying this content, make sure you subscribe, turn that bell on so you don't miss any videos. But let's get into it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Right, so we're going to kick it off over here with the big 200. If you've been following along, a lot of people know. I'll run through briefly why I chose the 79. But mates, why did you decide to go a chopped 200 series? You know, what sort of touring you're doing? Why did you pick this one, and why did you take a grinder to a perfectly good car?
Mate, Stacey and I chose the 200 because we owned one before. We loved the wagon, and we just wanted that next step, which was a bit more space in the rear with the canopy and tray. Yeah. So, mate, I wanted the comfort because I drive this thing every day to work, every day picking up clients, doing all that sort of stuff. So for me, a 200 series was just a little bit more comfortable and easier to drive around, and I wanted that auto box from the factory.
Why did you choose this? You should have chose that.
Oh,
the amount
why
of
do you
people
have
that told
IFS?
me you should have bought a 200 series and chopped it. And obviously everyone does
differently,
something different to suit their specific needs. But you do a lot of local beach trips.
Local beach trips. Literally would have been 5 months after we finished building this. Yeah. We were up in the NT giving it a real big shakedown, and mate, it performed absolutely faultlessly. Yeah. The other cool thing is, you know, I can actually just, when it comes to a weekend trip, have the canopy on the back, bam, all good. We've got everything we need. As soon as I get home, roll it into the shed, put the legs underneath it, drive out, and I've got my ute back, you know, and I can just drive around town, not having that big weight on the back, and it's just awesome.
So we're not going to go too specific into like different canopy setups. We're really just going to talk about the fundamentals of the two vehicles. So let's go check out the 79.
Alright, Matt, so now that we've gone through why I chose the 200 series, the better car, I reckon, the better car,
right.
How come you chose the 79? After all the debates that we had.
We've had so many debates, the amount of beers and dribble that we've talked while camping. So I guess you come from a 200 and went to a 200. I come from the 76 and I went to the 79. Now, for me, I wanted something probably that little bit more rough and tough. I'm a bit of a 70s man. I love the simplicity of them. I love the seating position. Yeah. They're a little bit narrower, not quite as big. But after having the 76, I wanted a little bit more space as well. And I wanted it done correctly to take extra weight. So that's the rough reasons that I went. Obviously, long touring is the favourite type. So neither of us go out there and bush bash and do...
I was going to say, because let's be honest, if you see a track that looks pretty gnarly, you'll still have a crack, whereas I just sort of dart around it. You know, if there's a bog hole there, you'll have a go, whereas I'll just skirt around. So, like, it just comes down to how you operate your trucks, what you want to do
with them.
Yeah, 100%.
And when you go to build a truck, these are both built for touring. You know, none of these are built for rock crawling. They're not Glasshouse Mountains or Coffs Harbour trucks, but you can still get out there and have a bit of a play within reason.
Oh, mate, I would hands down do old Telegraph track, and I'd even do Gunshot again. I've done it in my previous 200 series. I'd do it again in that in a heartbeat. It wouldn't stop me.
So let's run through some of the different dimensions. We'll run through lifts, what you can and can't do, and then we'll run through weights, and then we'll run through some costing. So I brought a tape measure.
Good on you.
Well done. So for anyone that doesn't know, I've gone with the J-Max 4495 GVM upgrade. It's actually a full replacement chassis. If you want to know more about any of the build, there's a build video. If you want to know specifically about the GVM and the chassis upgrade, there's another video as part of the build series. So I've actually extended the wheel track back 300 mil. That's part of the upgraded chassis. So the main benefit is you're bringing this rear wheel underneath the canopy. That you see so many 79 dual cabs. The wheels here, and they've still got this massive overhang, and when you see them wheel, they tend to have front wheels going everywhere. So let's just get a rough measurement, Donny.
I was going to say, that's a good point, but there's one more thing one thing between the 79 and the 200 that not many people realise. 79 series has a much smaller chassis as well.
Yeah, it's
so
tiny.
The 200 series comes out with a much bigger chassis, so it makes sense to be putting in a much bigger chassis and extending the wheelbase. On a 200, mate, I've got a massive chassis in there, and I've done 750 mils in mine.
Yeah, that's something we're going to note. Predominantly 650 is the most common chassis extension. To do a canopy setup, Donny has gone 750. In the 79s, pretty much all of them are a 300. I've seen the odd 400, but 300 is basically the go. So let's measure wheelbase to wheelbase. Let's see where we're at. This is surprising. 3.6.
Bullshit.
3.6. Really? Wow. Okay, so there you go.
Okay.
I thought it was going to be longer.
That probably makes
you
sense.
You always think it's longer than it is, eh, Donny?
Because I've still got a really good turning circle where it's yours.
Turning circles, that's one of the questions that got asked. Which turning circle is better? That one. The 79 with the 300 extension, the turning circle is, it's very average. I'm gonna be super honest. So 3 meters 600, and normally that would be 3 meters 500 for most of your 650 extensions. So when we're talking apples for apples of what normally gets done, the 79 is actually 50 mil longer than most of your chopped dual cab 200s, which...
Interesting.
Do we want to put the tape on that again?
Yeah, let's just check.
Alright, so we just double checked it, measured twice, cut once, they always say. That's very interesting, there you go. I would have definitely said that the 200 wheelbase is longer, but in most of your chops, this actually has a longer wheelbase. Okay, so we just measured outside to outside of the rear wheel tracks. This one comes in at 19, maybe 19 and 20.
Yeah.
And this one came in at 2 meters and probably 60. Wow. So you got about 100 mil wider in these.
In the 200.
In the 200 series. If you do a portal kit in this, which is a whole nother kettle of fish, you actually end up at the same wheelbase as a 200.
Do it, Matt.
Roughly. So
do a portal kit.
Portals never interest me. Okay, so now we've measured the rough wheelbases. Let's talk wheels, tyres, lift kits. So what are you running?
I'm currently running a Lovel's 4-ton GVM upgrade kit. So it doesn't really give you a lift, how much lift I've got in there. Put it this way, it's wound right to the tops.
About 2-inch lift,
Roughly. On that though, we are upgrading and we're going to be going to a full King's King shocks right around the truck, and it's going to be getting upgraded to a 4.5-ton GVM because by God do we need it.
We're going to compare as if this was already
exactly
4.5 ton and this is 4.5 ton, just to keep apples.
Whatever you're doing, if you're building a Chop 200 series, do a 4.5 ton GVM upgrade.
You need it, eh?
Do not stuff around thinking you can get away with 4 ton or 4.2. Just go in and do 4.495.
The amount of 200 series Chop Land Cruisers and the amount of 79 dual cabs that'll be getting around, way overweight. And until you start building one, you know, maybe not overweight if you're, once again, depends what you're doing.
100.
But if you're going to load it up for touring or long camping trips,
you pilot.
I would recommend going the 4495. The expense is a lot more, so obviously you've got to run within your budgets. But you can get up to 4 ton like that.
So easy.
So fast.
So easy.
So predominantly your 200 series, because they are an independent front suspension, with all of your chassis extensions and GVM upgrades, everything that I'm aware of comes with a 2-inch lift and 33s.
Correct.
That's basically the combo on your 200 series. Now, there's a couple of companies out there that do a 3 and 4-inch lift, predominantly 2-inch lift 33s or 2-inch lift 35s.
Yeah.
That's what you get on the 200
That's
series.
it.
with the J-Max kit and with the other kits on the market, you can either go 2-inch and 33s, or you have the ability to go to 4-inch and 35-inch tyres as part of your 4495 GVM upgrade. 4-inch and 35s, that's a big tick for the 79 and across for the 200.
Oh, we're doing this, aren't we?
I think we should start.
Oh, here we
this.
go.
So that's the first tick for the 79. We're going to do a couple of tick and flicks here. We're probably going to miss some, but let's talk GVMs. You can go 4.5 ton.
Absolutely.
You can go 4.5 ton. Now, I'm only talking the J-Max kit because it's the one I'm most familiar with, and I think that there's probably other kits that do equal, but it's just the easiest way to compare apples for apples. Donny's about to upgrade to 4.5 ton. I've done the 4.5 ton. Now, upgrading your BTC brake tow capacity, 4.5.
Correct.
4 ton.
Ah.
Tick for the 200. So if you're chasing that, you've got a big heavy boat or a big trailer.
I didn't know that.
You can get 4.5 ton out of a J-Max kit. Would you tow 4.5 ton?
No.
Perfect.
Yeah, mate, I dead set don't think. I look, the truck would do it without a doubt, but I wouldn't feel comfortable, I reckon, towing 4.5 ton with it.
All right, let's talk. We'll go from the front, work our way back. Let's talk motors. V8, 4.5 litre.
Single turbo.
Single turbo V8 diesel. Turbo diesel.
Yeah.
1 turbo. We come over here, 4.5 litre.
4.5 litre, twin turbo.
Twin turbo
V8.
Turbo diesel.
And
So,
it's got balls. It hauls ass.
straight off the line, when you're talking power, the 200 outperforms the 79. You get an extra turbo. Tick.
Yes.
All right, then as we move further back, you got your transmission.
Auto box wins.
Auto, manual, and the winner is that one. So you're looking at the auto comes standard. While we're talking in the middle,
What about
Comfort?
Comfort inside of the cab.
that one wins. There's a lot of ticks going to a 200
Size
series
of the
here.
cab.
Size of the cab, that one wins. Look, you get a lot of your creature comforts all come standard within the 200 series. You get a little bit more room. If you've got family or kids that are going to be in the back seat, my vote is probably going over with the 200. So far the 200's getting a few ticks.
Yeah, but let's win some back.
Let's win some back. All right, so as we work our way down to the back, tray canopy setups, you can basically do the same thing.
Same thing.
So neither here nor there on the back of them. I'm not sure of specific lengths, but you're pretty bloody close. So that's a bit of a draw. When it comes to the actual suspension setups, as we said, the 4-inch wins. Comfort, what about comfort?
Look.
Actual driving. I think on-road,
Oh, this.
the 200. When it comes to off-road, live axles, coils all round, I think these perform better off-road.
Yeah, look, that on the corrugations is a dream. It just floats along. Whereas
What do you guys
Yeah,
think
what
in
do
the
you guys
comments? Things to break more. That one. So obviously you get your coils, you get your better articulation. I think in the harder off-road stuff, the 79 would perform better.
Factory lockers.
There may be a couple of people out there who will disagree, but yes, that was my
That's
next
a big
point.
one.
Factory lockers. Nope. Big tick for the 79. However, you do get
Crawl control.
crawl control. Have you put lockers in this yet?
No, and I will be looking at doing that because I think that was something that is probably why our tail shaft snapped or broke, was that I just had too much load going through it and I should have been going slower pace, lockers on, and just going nice and slow with momentum.
That's a pretty big tick to be fully locked up
100%.
from factory all the way around.
I love the manual gear selector for the off-road, for low range.
Yeah.
Look at Lofty.
Yeah, so electronic four-wheel drive, low range. Is it a button or what is it?
It's a dial.
Dial. Yeah. So electronic as opposed to the old school high range, low range. So that's probably a tick. Once again, that comes down to more electronics to brake. Which is better? I don't bloody know. At the end of the day, this is probably better if you're more remote. You can always pull it apart and get in there and manually knock it out of gear if you had to. Yeah. All right, fuel consumption.
I do 18.5 litres per 100, fully loaded, and that's with after a tune.
Yeah, see, we were at about 19 litres, I think, when we tested this. So neither here nor there in fuel consumption. Once again, it all comes down to how you drive, and that's with 35s and rooftop tents,
100%.
which obviously is always going to stuff your fuel economy up as opposed to 33s and no rooftops, and we're both very heavy. I think we're pretty much getting into costs. I can't think of anything else that we've sort of run through. Let's do some rough ballpark figures. Obviously, there's so many different ways you can chop and extend both of these.
Mate, it's endless.
It's crazy. So what we're probably going to talk about is apples for apples, a J-Max kit, which is similar pricing to your superior kits in that 4.5 ton GVM. That's kind of where we're talking. We're not really talking your 3.8s or your 4s or your 4.2s. All right, let's do it. Let's talk some rough costings because it's something we get asked all the time. And obviously it comes down to how extreme you want to go with your modifications. But let's just talk GVM upgrades. So out of the box, 79 series dual cab. At the moment, all the pricing is
inflated like you wouldn't believe.
It's hectic. So we're just going to run on 12 month ago prices roughly. 75 grand will get you a 79 dual cab straight out of the box. A 4495 GVM upgrade for the 79s. Now keep in mind this comes with a lot of things. This is all your suspension upgraded, the rear diff, it's a whole new rear diff housing, chrome moly axles, upgraded brake boosters, wheels, upgraded rims, upgraded tyres. Everything has to meet the certain second stage manufacturing. So even little things like upgraded indicators, upgraded exhaust, upgraded clutch. There is a lot that goes into this kit. It's not just chop, extend, wheels and tyres. There's a lot of components that go into it, but it comes in at about $45,000. So we'll put that into the calculator. Plus 45, $120,000 is basically where you're at to take a stock 79 and make it 4495, 4-ton brake toe with all the correct components, specifically upgraded braking.
All good, yeah.
That's a whole new rear chassis welded in. So that's sort of top of the top. Now you can definitely do it a lot cheaper than that, but we
don't recommend it.
we're talking at the top. So that's a nice little ballpark there. Let's go into the 200. What are they? 85 GXL?
2 years ago, yeah, 85.
2 years ago, 85. For fun, let's call it 90. 90 grand because you probably got a pretty decent deal on that, I'd say. But GXL. We're trying to do apples for apples here. 90 grand plus 4495 GVM upgrade.
And chop.
And chop, because this is already a ute. This you got to cut the back off.
Cut the back off.
With the rough J-Max pricing / superior pricing, roughly, I don't know the exact figures, you're at about 65. Is that right?
Correct.
65 grand. 155 chopped 200 series Land Cruiser. 120. So
now we were talking about this before. I've got an auto box.
If you want to go auto, 120 goes to 150 straight away. 30 grand for an automatic if you want to drop one in to the 79. So you've basically got $30,000 up your sleeves of accessories. So by the time you do an interior, call it 10 if you wanted to do Recaro seats. There's 5 grand. And upgrade 10 grand. So you're at 130, still at 150. You've still got, with the upgraded interior, I'm still ahead by, still got 20 grand up my sleeve. So I think a lot of people go, oh, by the time you do an auto and you do all the interior, you may as well have just bought a 200. And they're spot on. If you want to drop an auto in this and spend 5 grand on the interior, you're at the exact same price as that. So then it comes down to, did you want the 4-inch? Did you want the 2-inch? Do you want the extra room for the kids?
Do you even really want to chop a perfectly good wagon?
That's
probably one of the other things about having just a 79 dual cab.
Yeah.
Hey, it comes out of factory as a 79 dual cab.
So look, there we go. If we're going to compare apples for apples, everyone that goes, which one's more expensive? Did you do a 79? A lot of people say, did you do a 79 to save money? But if you were to do apples for apples, throw the automatic in and about 5 grand worth of interior upgrades, 155 grand will get you your 200 series dual cab, extended chopped 200, and 155 will get you your 79, 300mm extension, both 4495. You get a little bit more towing, but then it comes down to personal preferences like lift,
extra turbo,
tyres, extra turbo. So a lot of people want to know like total cost, what did everything cost? That all comes down to how wild do you want to go with it? Whether you want to do bull bars, light bars, extra, how hectic you want to go with canopies. But that's the base price, and I think that's what we were trying to roughly work out.
That's what you want to work out.
So that was pretty surprising.
Mate,
I'd never done the math.
I'd never really done the math. Look, I just roughly worked out because, to be honest, I was always going to go at 200.
Yeah.
Always going to go at 200 series.
So I think if you're trying to keep your budget down, but you want something similar, you're almost better off going the 79 without the auto, and you've got 30 grand essentially a canopy. You could do it relatively.
Not a tray and canopy, just a full canopy on a chassis, I reckon.
Yeah, whatever it might be, but you've got 30 grand worth of accessories to play with if you don't want an auto. 100%. So if you're trying to keep the budget down, I think that's a tick for the 79, depending on how you look at it. Once again, it all comes down to personal preference, but we do have a couple of quick fire questions here, so let's get into a couple of them. Cody Pasalo, would you consider putting either an auto or a second turbo from the 200 into the 79? Would I ever consider doing an automatic? Absolutely. I would love an automatic. The budget is not stretching far enough to do an automatic, but maybe it's something I look into down the track. Would I consider doing a second turbo? Hell no. Ultimate Tourers. Go message him if you want to know more about one of them.
He'll tell you all about it.
But will I upgrade the turbo? Yes, I'm going to upgrade the turbo in this thing and do the Safari ECU module. And look, then I think we'll be pretty similar when it comes down to power. Now, what's better for touring in your opinion? Personal preference. These two sitting side by side, they're pretty similar trucks. It comes down to personal preference.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that depends what you want to do, where you want to go. Someone said tug of war.
Interesting.
The paddock is wet.
Yeah, very
it's grassy,
wet.
And we're sooks, to be honest. Stuart.Raymond 200. Are they just too big?
No.
Well, I think
we've done 5 rocks.
One thing we need to do is let's throw a tape from front to back.
Yeah.
Because we didn't do that. But as we proved earlier, the 79 extended chassis are actually longer in the wheelbase.
They are.
Let's measure. When it comes to length, there's nothing in them. They're spot on. Scrub bars to scrub bars, outside to outside, 250 to 2 meters. So the 79s, it's pretty obvious by looking at them. They are a lot narrower. 200s are a little bit wider. Is it too big? No.
We've done 5 rocks twice.
5 rocks, plenty of tracks up Northern Territory. It's something that you do get used to. They're definitely not too big for touring.
No.
Once you start going up into your 2500 Rams and Chevys and bits and pieces, that's a different ball game, and we may do a comparison video where we get a couple of other cars lined up. Let us know in the comments below what you think we should do. Should we
compare them
to? Should
we
get 79, 200, a 1500, a 2500? Should we get all the American trucks lined up and try and do that video? All right, so we got one here from Scotty Belshaw. Weight difference between the two and load carrying capabilities of each. So we've sort of answered load carrying, 4.5 and 4.5. Straight out of the box, cab chassis after the chop and extension. I don't know the figures, but the 200 has got to be heavier than the 79.
Oh, you got thicker chassis rails, bigger body,
bigger
bigger
a lot more interior. So it'd probably be within 200 kilos.
Yeah.
So look, the 200's slightly heavier, but capacities end up the same.
Yeah.
Was the chop worth it?
Yes.
Well,
definitely.
That was an easy one. Was the chop worth it in this? I think so. The way this car drives and the ability to carry that extra weight, I can't really say no. All right, so we snuck under the canopy doors here for a quick cold one, let the rain go a little bit. But we got a question here. Oz Caravan Adventures. Compare the space in the back seats for the kids' car seat, please. So I just threw the tape over the inside. Inside a door to inside a door is how we've done the rough measurement. There is 100 mil more in the 200 series. Then we put both seats back as far as they would go, and we measured from back of the front seat to the back seat, and there's only 100 mil more space in there. When we measured the overall width of the actual bench seat in the back, 150 mil wider. So there's a lot more room. When you sit in the back of a 200, there seems to be a lot more room, but it's only an extra 100 mil and an extra 100 mil. So pretty surprising. If you got kids, but I think I think you're kind of crazy not to go. If they're young kids, sure, get away with it. Let us know in the comments.
What would you go
Surely
for?
someone's had a 79 and a 200 with
One
kids.
thing that I thought about with kids is that I want them to have a little bit of aircon. And so for... I know, it sounds ridiculous.
Oh, we used to have to wind our windows down.
I know it sounds ridiculous, but on the back of the center console, I've actually got aircon control. So when the kids do come, they'll have aircon.
What rims are you running? Check out the build video for all those little details, but I'm running the Method 312s. Absolutely love them. All right, Thomas the Tracy, regrets or redos on the 200?
Going, definitely, I want to go 4.5 ton GVM upgrade.
So messing up the GVM. No regrets on this thing because I did do the biggest upgrade from the start. But once again, comes down to price point, what you can afford and what you're doing with it. All right, so before we wrap this up, I want to know what you guys think. Jump down in the comments and let us know. Would you take the 79 or the Chop 200? We've been arguing about this for years, so we'll add up all the comments and see who's a winner.
Yep.
If you've got any questions we didn't answer, jump in there, ask us the questions.
Yeah, I'll answer them.
Donny will jump on and answer. I'll answer what I can for the 79. If you want to see more of his build, go and check out @airingdown, @_airingdown.
No, just @airingdown.
@airingdown on Instagram, and you can go and hassle him on there for specifics if you're talking about building a 200. And then, of course, the Explore Life if you want to check out that. Okay, so now we're going to put a little tally sheet up here on pros and cons and see on paper what sort of came out on top. At the end of the day, it's 100% personal preference for how you're going to tour and what you want to do and what budget you have. So we'll leave it up to you guys to decide who's the overall winner. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what you got, whether it's something fully kitted out like this or your $10,000 first car Hilux. You have just as much fun, if not more fun, in the cheaper cars. So
hey, and we had a shitload of fun with our D22 Navaros.
yeah, look, we've both had D22s. We've worked our way up to, you know, our dream touring rig. So we're both very lucky. If you guys are enjoying this videos, make sure you like, please subscribe. That's about it. Till next time, make sure you guys get out and enjoy the Explore Life.